What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. Today, we're talking some college basketball betting ahead of Thursday. It is February the 8th. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button when this and all other content goes live. We're brought to you by BetMGM, who has a limited time offer for those of you in legal states. What you'll do is click the link in the video description below, make your first deposit of at least $5, make a $5 wager on any team, market, total, whatever you want, and you will be paid out an extra $158 in the form of bonus bets. This is only available for a limited time. Again, legal states with the exception of New York, Puerto Rico, and Nevada. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. You must be 21 or older to play in most areas. All right, let's recap yesterday. Not quite as good as the day prior where we were 9-3. I actually finished 9-9 with an additional push. And it was a weird slate. I think there were some spots that could have gone a little bit better, which we'll talk about briefly here. And again, like over the weekend, the greasy games were pretty good to us. Like Asheville got there, Bucknell got there, and it's some of these Power 5, Power 6 teams, I should say, that have been a little bit of a pain point for me at times. So to kind of break those down and get to each of those games we talked about, Creighton-Providence, I watched that game. You know, I had an under there and a Creighton ticket. Creighton just was handing the ball to Providence essentially via turnovers. The game went to OT, and both those teams shot unbelievably, like 48% from three for Creighton, 42% for Providence. It was just a ridiculous game. So I was holding an under that did not hit, and obviously Creighton bringing a game to OT and then not able to cover the spread. They lost outright. So close game, tough game, but that's the way it gets in college basketball sometimes. As far as the Big Ten road teams, Nebraska just got absolutely pounded. Wisconsin, man, like, I don't know with this team. I think they're coached horribly, and to lose to Michigan like that, road or not, is embarrassing. Now they're on 3 straight losses. Team's a paper tiger. Maybe you should learn your lesson betting Wisconsin, but apparently I haven't yet. Bama lost easily. They shot 37% from the field, so one of the bad shooting performances from Bama. We talked about that. I mean, that team's volatile. They don't play very good defense. Getting Nick Pringle back did not matter to their front court. Nate Oates just did not recruit the front court whatsoever heading into this season, and he's severely limited inside. Janai Broom just can do whatever he wants. It's now the second game this year where he's absolutely bodied Bama. The first one, Bama shot extremely well, ended up with a win, but that's how Bama has to win. When you shoot 37% from the field as Bama, you're going to lose those games. It's just the way it is. And then aside from that, Georgia Southern was another one that didn't cover. They actually almost covered, and they only shot 21% from three and 40% from the field. So pretty close with that one. Otherwise, as far as the wins go, I think these are pretty self-explanatory. The over did hit in Bama and Auburn. Louisville, Syracuse over hit as well. Southern Illinois was another good one. Portland, Gonzaga over there. Talked Bucknell, Asheville, Pitt hit as well. So finished 9-9, pushed a lot of money around, but we move forward today. It's a weird slate. It's not a slate I love. It's full of mid-majors and a couple Power 5 games. Ran into the interesting problem where my model liked a couple spots that I knew were going to move against me, which is always tricky. So waiting and seeing on a few things here. But we'll talk 5 games, and I'll bring you behind the glass right away so we can get into that. This is one of those games where I like Utah, and I knew this is going to move probably towards Arizona, so I didn't bet it just yet. We'll talk why. But right now, Arizona's -5, -5.5. I'm not sure where it's going to go during the day. I think Utah's okay at 5. They're a team that hasn't been healthy through most of the year, especially in their front court. Lawson Lovering has been out for this team, and they've had Raleigh Worcester out. That's actually kind of been a benefit to them because then they put Devion Smith into a full-time role, and he's just been far better. But it goes beyond that. They've had players on and off the floor through the whole season, and Arizona's been the opposite. They've been fully healthy. A bit of a disappointment in conference play, dropping some games to some pretty egregious teams, some of those on the road, which will be the case here. But as far as stylistics go and how these teams match up, I think it's a pretty even matchup. Both of them play through their front court. Good height on both sides. Arizona 21st in height, Utah 5th. A lot of the rebounding metrics, the ancillary height metrics are pretty even for these teams. And Utah, I think, has room for improvement with Lovering back in the fold, giving them an extra body in the inside. But even effective field goal percentage, 32 for Arizona, 38 for Utah. Inside, 2-point percentage, 35 to 48. Both teams defend that area very well. Arizona 73, Utah 43. You have Utah shooting a lot more threes. They're 131st in three-point rate, whereas Arizona's 304th. Both teams top 50 in three-point percentage. I mean, you can just see it's basically even across the board with all of these teams. And that extends into places like turnover margin, foul margin. And what that tells me is this should probably be closer to a pick'em, especially with Utah being at home. Arizona, I think, is the slightly better team, evidenced by most of the metrics you see on the screen, but it's very close. And then the injuries do play a part for Utah. So I show some slight value there. Not one I'm rushing to the board to get, and I don't even have it personally myself yet, but I plan on taking some sort of Utah position before the day is over. Next up, we forgot to do the timestamps. So sorry, guys. We'll, I guess, start timestamping this from here on out. Iowa takes on Penn State. So Big Ten showdown. And this is one I liked an over at 161.5. Kanye Clary's questionable for Penn State still. I don't know if he's going to be back. He's dealing with a face injury, but he's been called day-to-day for about a week now. I think we see him at some point. But the whole crux of this basically comes down to pacing. Iowa's 15th in tempo. Penn State is 54th. Offensive efficiency, both teams are pretty good. Iowa is 25th. Penn State is 85th. And then on defense, both these teams are lackluster. Iowa's very bad for a Big Ten defense. They're arguably the worst defense in that entire conference at 130th. Penn State 98th. And there's certainly weaknesses to both teams. Penn State is 294th in interior defense. Iowa has just a slew of players on the inside that are absolutely going to body you. Peyton Sanford, Owen Freeman, Ben Krikke, all those guys, elite front court players, which take advantage of this Penn State defense. And then on the other side, Iowa, this team, they're not great at defending the interior themselves for like whatever reason. I don't know why this is, but these players that we just mentioned as kind of offensive firepower pieces have not been able to defend inside. They're 201st in interior defense. Penn State 106 scoring in that area. And then, I mean, Penn State does shoot a lot of threes. They're not very good at it, but Iowa also 169th in perimeter defense, so maybe they can get something going out there. Otherwise, everything else in this game, you have two teams that don't really turn the ball over very often, and two teams that do get a lot of possessions because of the pace they play. At 161.5, I think this is fine towards an over. Next game up, Washington State, Oregon State, Pac-12 showdown. We're going to go to another total here, and this is one I like towards an under. Basically, pacing is where we'll start. It's at 135.5. Adjusted tempo for both these teams is right around 300. Washington State, 297. Oregon State, 301. And then the Oregon State side has some pretty bad overall metrics. I don't know what to make of this team shooting-wise. 216th in effective field goal percentage, 210th on the inside, 197th from three. Washington State's defense is pretty decent at defending most of those areas, especially inside. So, Oregon State plays a tall lineup, 16th in effective height. Washington State themselves is 23. Like on paper, if Oregon State were to find an upset here, it's probably through their front court. But they've been so bad inside with that 210th ranked 2-point percentage. They're also a revolving door. Like players, Casey Ebekwe has been benched at times for this team. They don't have a clear player down there I think they can rely on. So it's been pretty rough sailing for this Oregon State team. And anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is you're still facing the 50th ranked Washington State defense, 20th inside, and 121st from three. This 216th effective field goal percentage, 176 ranked offense likely isn't going to find a lot of success. Then on the other side, the only thing Oregon State does well is defend the three. They're definitely going to cede a lot of points inside of Washington State, but with both these teams being right around 300th in pace, not seeing a real reason to look anywhere other than an under in this spot. We'll get a couple greasy games in here before we head out. First one up is going to be a Horizon League showdown between Green Bay versus Robert Morris. This is another one where, like Green Bay, right from the jump, line moves to 2.5 from 1. No injuries. So, I don't have an explanation for this line movement, and I'm not sure what the reason is. Green Bay has a better record. Green Bay won this matchup already once this year. Green Bay has the edge in almost every efficiency metric. Offense is very close. Green Bay slightly behind Robert Morris, 216 to 207. Defense vastly in favor of Green Bay, over 100 spots better. Rebounding slightly worse, but I mean, both these teams are good rebounding units, and they both have poor height. It's the Horizon Leagues. It's not like this matters a ton. You don't really have elite height teams anyway, but Green Bay, 326, Robert Morris, 310. It's not like there's a vast difference in effective height, just like we don't see a vast difference in rebounding. But where we do see a vast difference is effective field goal percentage. Green Bay, 48th, Robert Morris, 153rd. There's nearly 100 places over 100 in the rankings between these metrics. Green Bay's 30th at scoring inside. Robert Morris is 352nd at defending the interior. Green Bay shoots a ton of threes, 6th in three-point rate. This is adjusted for pace. They're 104th in three-point percentage. Robert Morris is 260th in defending the three. Now, on the other side, Green Bay's defense, they lack a little bit of size inside. We already mentioned this, but what they do is defend the three well. Robert Morris shoots a lot of threes, 95th in three-point rate, but they're not very good at it. And Green Bay's awesome at stopping it, 28th in three-point defense allowed to opponents. So I don't know. I just flat out think Green Bay should be favored in this game, and the line's moving against me. So I don't know what to make of it. I'm going to play Green Bay, but you're not really incentivized to bet this right now. I guess wait and see. They're on the road for what that's worth, but it's the Horizon League. We're talking really, really dicey stuff here. And last one we'll talk about, we're going out west. UC San Diego takes on Hawaii. This is a pick'em. You might find this -1 in some spots. I took the pick'em. Make sure you shop it as you're shopping all these lines. This is a greasy slate. But I think pick'em is much better than -1, of course. Head to Odd Shopper. We have these tools. You can sort by state, your state. It'll give you the best line for any sport you're looking for. Also, we have packages where we've consolidated all our tools, Discord, it's all there. Market-based approach. You can find plus EV betting spots across sports, not just college basketball, but we do have that. Information and analysis in Discord via our experts. You can chop it up with them in there. $14.95 for a week, $49.95 for a month. No long-term commitments. Check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. All right, as far as San Diego versus Hawaii goes, I was shocked this opened as a pick'em. Obviously, you've got the long road trip to Hawaii, so the travel is a bit of an issue. Anytime you go to the island, I will cede that point. But San Diego, 68th in offensive efficiency. Hawaii, 241st. Defense also benefits San Diego, 166 to 179. Rebounding's close for these teams. They're about 40 spots between each other. But this is where Hawaii probably has the biggest advantages inside. They're 63rd in effective height to San Diego's 182nd. With that said, Hawaii has not used their height effectively. They're pretty good defending the interior, but they're only 163rd in two-point percentage. Where this team hemorrhages points on defense is the perimeter. And this is, I don't understand why they do this. This team is 34th in three-point rate, but 294th in three-point percentage. You actually are pretty tall. Why are you shooting so many threes with horrible shooters? Why don't you just try to get the ball near the basket and exploit your opponent's weaknesses? It's not like San Diego's awesome at defending the three, but Hawaii's just so bad at shooting them. And their effective field goal percentage is awful, 163rd. San Diego's 87. And then conversely, San Diego doesn't have a lot of height. They're still pretty effective using the height they do have. They're 87th at two-point percentage. That's where Hawaii's strong. Where they have a real advantage here is on the perimeter. For as bad as these Hawaii guards are at shooting, they might be equally as bad at defending. San Diego, 42nd three-point rate, 84 three-point percentage. Hawaii, 184th in three-point defense. I mean, this team is awful at defending. And they don't even use their height to rebound, really. They don't chase the offensive glass. 176th in rebounding. That's not even that far ahead of Cal San Diego. I'm not sure what they're doing. The defense is a bit of a concern for me. They don't generate any turnovers. Not that San Diego turns the ball over much anyway. They're 24th in turnovers committed, but Hawaii turns it over a ton. They're 259th in turnovers committed. Hawaii's constantly in foul trouble, 230th in fouls committed. A lot of micro advantages for San Diego here. I guess before we head out, I'll mention a few others that I don't know if I'm going to end up taking just because of line movement stuff moving against me, but like the under in Chattanooga VMI, that's gone up throughout the day. Liked Marist over Siena, that's gone the other way. Liked the over in Iona Niagara, that's gone the other way. Liked Fairfield, that's actually moved for me. Green Bay we mentioned. Samford's going the other way. Tennessee State going the other way. Portland State, Weber State, Abilene Christian, Seattle liked unders. Both those are going over. So I don't know. I have no idea if I'm going to play any of those. I guess I'll tweet them out. But more work to be done throughout the day today to figure out some of this stuff. Tough slate. If you have any questions, leave them below or reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at Matt_Gajewski. DMs are open. And we'll be back tomorrow, as well as Saturday this week. Yes, Saturday, talking more games. Until next time, good luck.